Step number 10 is compression. Compression means reducing the duration or the critical path of an entire project to fit in the time frame you have allotted. Normally when you put together a schedule, it never fits in the exact time frame you needed. Usually it goes over. So we have to come back and we have to look, okay, how can we compress the schedule? How can we get the critical path, the longest path to the network, to fit in the time frame we have allotted? So that's essentially what compression is. Now there's different ways of doing this. The one I like to use, the first one I like to use is by using smart relationships. Now you see here we have submit 50% plans, 50% plan reviews, and then submit 50% or 100% plans. The way we could compress this potentially is say, okay, during about halfway through the plan review, right, we're going to start on 100% design because we have a feeling that our design is going to be pretty good. We can already start working on 100% design. We won't finish it up. We'll have some times to correct after we get the review back. We take a little bit of risk there, but you see how we could cut some time. So we're going to make it a start to start, and they had with a 5-day duration, a 5-day lag. We hit OK, and you see what happens there. We cut 5 days out of the schedule by bringing that back to start about 5 days after the review occurs. We still have time to make some edits after we receive the review back, but we're able to compress the schedule. Now, you may ask, well, how did I know that these items were going to compress the critical path? Because it wasn't identified. Well, what you should do is right-click in the Gantt chart view, go to Show and Hide, and go Critical Path. And you see everything in red, all bars in red are critical path, our task assigned to the critical path, meaning this task is critical to the project being completed on time, the longest path to the network. So we can, one way is by changing the relationships. You see I did there by using start to start. Another way is by adding more resources. Now, since we are not resource loading a schedule, we can, outside the software, know, okay, well, we plan to, when we go to construction, we plan to have on steel here 15 days with a 20-man crew. Well, what happens if we go to a 40-man crew? We can cut that duration in half, which is about 7.5 days, and we'll just go ahead and put 8. Okay. And we could just do that, working with the subs. We can't arbitrarily do that. We need to seek out that information from people and see if they have the crews to be able to do that. But that is another way. So the first one is changing relationships. The second one is changing the manpower assigned to an activity. And remember, we only want to do activities that are on the critical path or activities that are red. The third and fourth one, the means and methods, are a little more difficult. We won't get into that, but that changes the material and the method we have to doing it. It's like using, tilt-ups rather than prefabricated panels, right? Or using masonry walls. Those are kind of means and methods. So that's what our goal here is, to compress the schedule. Well, how do you know what to compress, or how much do you know to compress? Well, by assigning a constraint at the end of the schedule like we did before. And I'm going to go ahead and move the date way back, okay? Like to January 1st. That's going to give us negative float. So you see we have a negative 12 days. We got to get 12 days removed from the schedule on the critical path. So I'm going to go ahead and work through some of them here. How about the exterior stud sheathing, okay? The first thing we want to do is look at the relationship. We need to have a finish to start relationship because we need to have the joist up in the decking. But we can, increase the crew size, so we can go to 8 days. Okay, that saved us right off top 7 days on the critical path. So we'll go down a little further, and we'll see, if there's a way to use relationships to help us. I know up top here. Steel fabrication, Do we have to wait for the steel shop drawings to be reviewed? Yes. There's nothing we can do there. But in the submittal section, it really is kind of tight. The review times. Can we start the structural steel shop drawings before the final plan review is? Yeah, we could. We can go ahead and do a start to start there, and let's do 5 days, because we're trying to get 5 days. And you could see when we had a closed network, we could simply look at the float, and we now know that the project can be done in that time frame. That's what's wonderful about having a closed network, is you're able to use the float to tell you what task you need to reduce in order to get the project to be compressed to fit in that time frame. So remember, project compression is getting a project schedule you put together with all the logic in it to fit into the time frame allotted.